Hi, this is Lee from the Law School Toolbox. Today we are going to talk about how to best prepare for the NextGen Bar Exam as a current law student. This does not mean that you should start your bar prep while you are in law school, but that there are steps you can take to prepare yourself for bar prep while you are in law school. For a quick recap, the Uniform Bar Exam, the UBE, is currently being reimagined as the NextGen Bar Exam and will be administered for the first time in July 2026. But the UBE won't completely be phased out until after the February 2028 administration. Jurisdictions will still have the option to administer a state-specific exam if they choose not to adopt the NextGen Bar Exam. This means the coming years will bring a lot of confusion, as some jurisdictions will be offering the NextGen Bar, some will offer the UBE, and others will create their own bar exam. The difference between the two exams is one of practicality. The NextGen Bar Exam is meant to test graduates on their competency to practice law rather than their ability to memorize immense amounts of law. Compared to the UBE, the NextGen Bar will test takers on a different set of skills through new types of questions. The NextGen Bar will consist of 3 question categories: multiple choice questions, integrated question sets, and longer writing tasks. Throughout the entire exam, 4 broad categories of skills will be assessed. First, issue spotting, analysis, investigation, and evaluation. Second, client counseling, advising, negotiation, dispute resolution, client relationship, and management. Third, legal research. Fourth, legal reading, legal writing, and drafting. These changes may raise a lot of questions in your mind, especially if you plan to sit for the July 2026 bar exam. What can I do to prepare? How do I study if my jurisdiction has not announced which bar exam I am taking? What classes should I take? How can I begin practicing these skills now to make the bar exam a little easier? Don't worry, we're going to answer some of these questions for you. Preparing for the bar used to be simpler when we knew what the UBE looked like and what it took to succeed. The standard advice was to spend your time in law school taking classes that cover topics tested on the bar exam and focusing on skills such as memorization and writing. Well, now it's not so cut and dry. With so much up in the air, it might be hard for students to feel confident that what they are doing now will actually help them down the line. The good news is that there are certain things you can do during your time as a law student that will help you succeed on the NextGen Bar Exam. Our first tip is to take classes that cover the bodies of law tested on the NextGen Bar. As of this episode's release, there will be 9 topics tested on the NextGen Bar that will require some level of memorization. These are business associations, civil procedure, constitutional law, contracts, criminal law and procedure, evidence, real property, torts, and family law. If you plan to sit for the bar exam in a jurisdiction that has adopted NextGen, and you are looking to build your 2L and 3L schedules, you should be sure to take some of these courses. Your bar prep course will give you all of the information you need to master these topics, so it is not required that you take any of these. However, it will be helpful to get a basic understanding of what the topic is about during law school instead of having to learn all of it from scratch in a matter of weeks. Even if you plan to sit in a jurisdiction that has not yet announced which bar exam will be administered in 2026, taking these courses will still benefit you since these 9 are also tested on the UBE. The only differences in terms of bodies of law tested between the NextGen and the UBE are conflict of laws, trusts and estates, and secured transactions. Although they could show up in the form of a longer writing task on the NextGen Bar, no outside knowledge of the subjects and thus no memorization of them are required. So although you can still take these courses, it would not directly benefit you for the NextGen Bar. Our next tip is to take courses that are centered around the client's skills tested on NextGen. As I mentioned, the NextGen is meant to mirror real practice, focusing more on skills than memorization. In addition to the current UBE skills tested like legal writing, issue spotting, and legal analysis, the NextGen will, among others, test investigation, client counseling, negotiation, client advising, and dispute resolution. A common concern shared by students, professors, and legal professors alike is how a standard written exam could possibly test skills such as negotiation, investigation, and client counseling. The NCBE released a few sample questions that should help relieve this concern. One released sample question provides takers with a section of a statute that lacks a definition of the word habitable. The question prompts takers to advise a law clerk on two legal sources that would most likely be able to provide a controlling definition of the word habitable. Another question asks the taker to identify the risks of filing a claim on the behalf of a client. Now that we know how these skills might be tested, the concern then becomes how you can prepare for these types of questions. A typical tort or contracts class does not prepare a student to answer these types of questions. So, what can you do to work on these skills? Your law school likely offers classes on attorney skills such as mediation, deal making, client interviewing, client counseling, and attorney ethics. Your law school also likely offers clinics which can teach you all of these skills in real-life situations. Taking these classes and clinics through your law school experience can help you learn how to answer these types of questions. These can be difficult skills to learn on your own because, for example, it often takes watching someone interview a client to know how to effectively interview a client. So it would be beneficial for you to take a course where your professor can teach you these things. This way, you can go into bar prep with a basic understanding of how you should talk to clients, how to persuasively argue for your client's position, and other skills necessary for the next gen bar. We also recommend you take classes focused on legal writing and legal research. After all, 2 of the 4 skill groups the National Conference of Bar Examiners is going to test on the NextGen Bar are legal writing and legal research. Your curriculum likely requires certain legal writing and research classes already, but it would definitely benefit you to take as many courses focusing on these skills as you can. The NextGen Bar will no longer include a multi-state essay exam, meaning skills like IRAC might be a thing of the past for the bar exam. However, skills such as writing objective memos, persuasive briefs, client letters, emails, and the like will be even more important than on the current UBE because they will be tested in the longer writing task portion of the NextGen Bar and will also be required to an extent in the integrated question sets. With how prevalent legal writing and research will be on NextGen, it would be very advantageous for you to take courses focused on honing in on these skills. This way, you can go into the NextGen Bar already being able to write clearly, effectively, and on task. Our fourth tip is to focus on critical reading. This should not be a new tip for you, as it is imperative for the UBE as well. The bar exam is notoriously full of wording tricks that will negatively impact your overall score if you are not aware of them. This is not something that will change when it comes to the NextGen. All 3 components of the NextGen Bar will require critical thinking. The multiple choice section will still ask you to identify things like the best answer when all 4 answer choices are technically correct. The longer writing tasks, similar to the MPTs, will still sneak in one word here or there that changes your entire analysis. The integrated question sets will combine both of these and more into one. Some students find reading the call of the question first on essay questions and MBE questions will help them think critically. But note, we have found on the MBE this is not as consistently true. On all portions of the exam, the NCBE loves to hide the real issue they are testing within other non-relevant issues. For example, you could encounter a question that has facts dealing with negligence, pleadings, strict liability, and battery. If you read the call of the question first and realize the question deals with negligence, when you read the multiple choice prompt, you can ignore any facts that deal with intentional torts, strict liability, civil procedure, or any other topic that is not negligence. However, by reading the facts before the call of the question, you could waste time and energy focusing on issues that are not relevant. But like I said, it really depends on the student, and you should try it both ways. Another way to always read critically and carefully is to annotate the fact pattern as you read it. This means you should be circling and underlining important facts and writing notes to yourself in the margins. Since you are actively reading, this will help you stay focused and not miss any important details. You can practice reading critically by completing practice hypotheticals throughout each semester. Not only will this help you form a good routine on how to approach and read a question on the bar exam, but it is also a great form of studying for all final exams you have during your time in law school. Our final tip on what you can do now to help prepare for the NextGen Bar is to stay in constant contact with the bar success team at your school. It can be confusing as a student to sift through the ever-changing news being released and to stay on top of the most recent updates. The bar success team at your school stays up to date with the NextGen Bar and will be able to let you know what the latest news is and how it impacts you. Your bar success team can also provide more specific guidance for which relevant courses are available at your school and can help you identify your own areas of strength and weakness. As we wrap up this episode, let's review our tips for what you can do in law school to best prepare yourself for the NextGen Bar Exam. First, take courses related to the 9 bodies of law tested on the NextGen Bar that require memorization. Second, learn practical client skills through related courses and clinics. Third, strengthen your legal writing and research skills by taking as many writing-focused courses as you can. Fourth, learn how to read critically by completing practice hypotheticals. Finally, keep in constant contact with the bar success team at your law school to stay up to date on the latest next-gen information. And with that, we are out of time. If you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself or Allison at lee@barexamtoolbox.com or allison@barexamtoolbox.com, or you can always contact us via our website contact form at barexamtoolbox.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk soon.